China in a Confucian key. What happens is that you laowai foreigners don't understand China. This assertion, in various forms, has accompanied me for a quarter of a century, ever since I first set foot in Beijing in the year of the pig, 1995. I have heard it reiterated by party members, state officials, diplomats, journalists, academics, artists, and Chinese military personnel. I have also encountered it in responses to my questions when speaking with ordinary Chinese citizens. It has been a frequent topic in after-dinner conversations with my Chinese in-laws, who have welcomed me into their family for more than a decade. This phrase is the quintessential interpretation of a nation reflecting on itself, the ultimate expression of patriotic affirmation. A take-it-or-leave-it stance that cannot be ignored, lest any attempt to grasp this millennia-old reality becomes futile. For over 5,000 years, China has resonated with its sense of uniqueness, and despite its ups and downs, it has carried that sense forward to the present day. For centuries, this has been indicated by the centripetal nature of its own name in Mandarin Zhongguo, meaning the central country or empire. Once conceived as the center of the world, and it is now reflected in the ideological banner raised by the ruling Communist Party as it declares the construction of socialism with Chinese peculiarities. Chinese translators prefer peculiarities to characteristics, in a term more prevalent in some foreign media. In short, everything and everyone indicates that China is only like itself. This particular nature underpins its millennia-long continuity. It is from this singularity that I intend to speak about the country that has become my second home. 9 centuries after Marco Polo introduced Chinese noodles and the first notions of the Silk Road to the West, much of the world continues to wonder about China's essence, the nature of its political system, the scope of its development, and even the possibility of an imperialist surge in its current global influence, and much more. Let me clarify from the outset that I am neither an academic nor a historian. My work has been that of a translator, editor, writer for over 2 decades in a dozen Chinese media and publishing outlets in Spanish. In this role, I have contributed to presenting a view to the Spanish-speaking world that at least differs from the dominant Western canon. To help laowai understand China from its own perspective, some may label me a cog in a propaganda machine, and they wouldn't be entirely wrong. But thanks to this close relationship with the country, I have formed my own judgment. I carry a view that filters through no lens other than that of a privileged witness, often dazzled of the most rapid and transformative changes any nation has experienced in recent centuries, with both its light and shadows. With Confucius as my guide, it is inconceivable to delve into the Chinese soul without turning to Confucius 551 BC, 479 BC, the teachings and symbolic legacy of the thinker born in Kyofu, in the eastern province of Shandong, and the essence of his moral precepts, form the backbone of social behavior in modern China. His philosophy, which underpins an entire ethical system, is subtly but persistently present in government documents and edicts. It permeates the declared harmony, both social and in foreign relations, championed by the Communist Party. While Marx, Lenin, and Mao dominate statutes, proclamations, and slogans, old Confucius resides deep, sometimes subliminally, in the minds and hearts of policy designers and most Chinese leaders. I have encountered Confucius everywhere. I have felt his presence in the strict hierarchy with which my Chinese superiors have conducted our interactions, in the meritocratic social advancement of my local colleagues, in my Chinese wife's absolute devotion to her elderly mother, and in the respectful way my Chinese stepson insists on offering me the best portion of food when we share a meal. Confucianism is the national cohesive force that has been of great use to the current Chinese political system in ensuring social stability. From the family as the foundational unit to the broader community, Chinese communists who have ever spoken of self-cultivation of character have been knowingly or not paying homage to the master. The practice of charity, the benevolence of the ruler, respect for hierarchy by the governed, care for parents, devotion to ancestors and traditions, honesty, and above all, the pursuit of social harmony are among the virtues Confucius sought to instill in his contemporaries. More than 2.5 millennia later, millions of Chinese from various social strata continue to use these teachings as their moral compass. The current administration's declared efforts to eliminate corruption and waste, among other domestic issues, plaguing the country, owe much to Confucian ideals. Likewise, the official discourse on international platforms advocating for a community of shared destiny for all humanity also finds its roots in Confucian thought. In 2014, at the beginning of his presidency, Chinese President Xi Jinping remarked that Confucianism and other venerable philosophical and cultural traditions were experiencing a revival in the country, representing rational thought and the achievements China seeks in its pursuit of national rejuvenation. A few years earlier, in 2011, while still vice president, Xi noted that the philosophy of Xing, the fusion of heart and mind of Wang Yangming 1472 to 1529, a Neo-Confucian scholar, embodies the essence of traditional Chinese culture. It is also one of the keys to increasing the Chinese people's confidence in their own culture. Confucianism, however, has not always generated consensus in China. The intellectual movement that peaked in May 1919, particularly among students, rejected Confucian principles, viewing them as futile relics that hindered the efforts to build a modern, democratic China capable of standing on equal footing with other nations in the world. In 1973, in a move that surprised many, then President Mao Zedong launched a fervent campaign against Confucius, citing similar arguments as those put forward by the students of May, emphasizing that the ongoing Cultural Revolution 1966-76 and Confucius were mutually exclusive. But shortly after Mao's death in September 1976, China's new leader, Deng Xiaoping, known as the architect of the reform and opening up process, shifted the course of events, leading to a reassessment of Confucianism. With his characteristic pragmatism, Deng embraced anything that, in his view, would improve the living standards of his fellow citizens following the disastrous Cultural Revolution and strengthen the country's stability, hence his famous saying, "It doesn't matter if the cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice." If Confucius fit that criterion, then he was welcome. This decision was heavily influenced by the example of the rapidly developing Singapore, whose then Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew warmly received Deng Xiaoping in the city-state in 1978, offering a close friendship despite evident ideological differences and convincing Deng of the benefits for China in adhering to traditional Asian values, including Confucianism, to pave the way for economic development. Deng paid close attention. Both he and Confucius agreed that a well-governed state could not thrive amidst chaos. The extremes of the Cultural Revolution had made that abundantly clear. The article China Enclave Confuciana offers a deep and thoughtful analysis of the role of Confucius and Confucian thought in modern Chinese society. The author, having lived and worked in China for more than 2 decades, explores the fusion of Confucianism with China's contemporary political and social system, despite the historical challenges and transformations the country has faced. Through a personal and nuanced perspective, the writer underscores how Confucianism continues to permeate and define the essence of Chinese culture and governance, making it essential for anyone trying to understand China. One of the key themes the article presents is the recurring statement that foreigners, or laowai, do not truly understand China. The phrase is a reflection of the complexity involved in grasping the full depth of China's unique and ancient civilization. The author suggests that to understand China, it's imperative to understand Confucius and his enduring influence on the Chinese way of life, particularly in shaping personal conduct, social harmony, and the interaction between individuals and authority. This sentiment is something the writer has encountered repeatedly in various contexts, including interactions with Chinese intellectuals, officials, and ordinary people, as well as personal family conversations. Confucianism, with its moral and ethical foundations, has served as the backbone of Chinese society for thousands of years. The article stresses that Confucius is a central figure in shaping the spiritual and ethical foundation of the Chinese people, and that core Confucian values like filial piety, respect for elders, and personal responsibility are deeply embedded in the fabric of Chinese society. Even in the face of communist ideology, the principles of Confucius remain a subliminal yet powerful force that guides both leadership and the populace. The article delves into the complexity of Chinese governance and society, where Marxism and Leninism dominate the official rhetoric and government policies, while Confucianism subtly influences social behavior and political thinking. Confucius' teachings are evident not only in personal relationships, but also in governance, especially in the emphasis on social harmony and meritocracy within the political system. The hierarchical structure of Chinese society, the deference to authority, and the merit-based promotion system within the government are all rooted in Confucian ideals, which continue to sustain social stability in modern China. The author draws on his personal experiences to illustrate how Confucianism manifests in everyday life, both in professional settings and within the family unit. For instance, the strict hierarchy in professional interactions, the meritocratic rise of colleagues, and the respect shown by his Chinese family toward elders all exemplify how deeply Confucian values shape Chinese social dynamics. This undercurrent of Confucian influence, the article suggests, has been instrumental in maintaining the social fabric that the Communist Party relies on for societal stability. In discussing Confucius' long-lasting impact, the article also references how his philosophy has evolved over time and how its acceptance has fluctuated. The May 4th movement of 1919, for instance, saw a rejection of Confucianism by Chinese intellectuals and students who viewed it as a futile relic incompatible with the aspirations of building a modern, democratic China. This moment in history represented a significant challenge to Confucian thought, as many sought to dismantle traditional hierarchies and usher in new forms of governance that were more in line with Western democratic ideals. Similarly, during the Cultural Revolution 1966 to 1976, Confucius came under direct attack by Mao Zedong's regime, which saw his teachings as antithetical to the revolutionary ethos. Mao's denunciation of Confucianism was part of a broader campaign to purge Chinese society of feudalistic and capitalist elements. However, this anti-Confucian stance did not last long, as the article notes that following Mao's death in 1976, Deng Xiaoping led China in a different direction, one that rehabilitated Confucianism as part of the broader effort to stabilize the country and foster economic growth. Deng's pragmatism, encapsulated in his famous quote, "It doesn't matter whether a cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice," allowed him to embrace whatever means were necessary to improve the lives of Chinese citizens, including drawing on Confucian principles. Deng saw value in Confucius' teachings, particularly regarding social order and governance, as evidenced by his admiration for Singapore's Lee Kuan Yew, who championed traditional Asian values, including Confucianism, to achieve rapid economic development. This pragmatic turn marked a revival of Confucian thought in Chinese politics and society. The article also highlights how China's current leadership under President Xi Jinping has explicitly acknowledged the importance of Confucianism and traditional Chinese thought. In 2014, She spoke about the revival of Confucian values as part of China's broader effort to rejuvenate the nation. Xi's embrace of Confucianism is seen as a way to strengthen China's cultural identity and enhance the population's confidence in their cultural heritage. His administration's focus on anti-corruption efforts and the promotion of social harmony are deeply influenced by Confucian ideals of moral governance and ethical behavior. In conclusion, the article China Enclave Confuciana presents a nuanced exploration of Confucianism's role in modern China. Despite the challenges Confucian thought has faced over the centuries, from intellectual rejection to political persecution, it remains an essential part of Chinese identity and governance. Confucius' teachings continue to influence not only the behavior of individual citizens, but also the policies and practices of the ruling Communist Party. The fusion of Confucianism with Marxist-Leninist thought creates a unique ideological framework that sustains China's social and political structure. The article underscores that understanding Confucianism is key to understanding China, both in its past and its present, as the country continues to navigate its place in the world while drawing on its rich cultural heritage.